This is Here in My Time, and I am so thankful and excited you've tuned in to this very first season of my brand new podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Hunt, and I am so honored to say that this first season of 16 episodes, hour-long weekly segments, is actually sponsored by one of my favorite stores in downtown Huntington, Indiana. Can you tell the excitement in my voice? That's right, you've guessed it, Turn the Page Books and Music Store. Rex is the owner of this fine establishment. This is the place to go if you are looking for your next read or to add to your vinyl collection. It is jam-packed full of used books, everything from fiction to nonfiction, and of course a huge variety of records from rock and roll to Taylor Swift. And let me tell you, Rex is the perfect owner because he is a music library. If you need help picking out your first record or maybe adding to your collection, this is the man for you. Whenever you walk in the door, music is playing constantly. You got perfect lighting. You've got the wooden floors. It's the perfect vibe to enjoy your day in. So make sure you stop in and visit, and also follow him on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much, Rex, for your support. It means the world to me. Now on to the episode. Well, hey y'all, how are you? It has been a long time coming, this episode. I'm so glad to finally record it after 3 weeks between technical issues and then losing my voice to some people's happiness. I am finally here with you today. If you don't know who I am, my name is Lauren Hunt, and I'm your host of Here in My Time. I'm a local personal journalist, photographer, documentarian, and just quite frankly, a lover of people and their stories, located right here in Wabash, Indiana. Now, it is a beautiful Sunday evening when I'm recording this. It's actually the Sunday evening before the episode comes out, and I have been enjoying this weather. I don't know how you guys have been, but I have. If you guys have been. I don't know if you guys have been, but I have, and I have the windows open, so if you hear a little bit of background noise, I'm sorry, but it's just so beautiful outside. I can't help it. Something about fresh air. Now, yesterday, I spent the day getting the garden ready to plant. Coming up in May, about mid-May is when I plant. But I've actually got a new gardening system that I have to tell you about. You may not be a gardener like I am or care anything about it, but I think it ties very well into today's episode, which is all about how do we find beauty in everyday life. This gardening system is from Charles Dowding. If you've never heard of Charles Dowding as a gardener, you probably have heard indirectly. He is a author and an amazing gardener, and he has this idea, or his system was putting cardboard down, compost, and then wood chips, and you're planting directly into the compost. Now, remember that compost holds all the nutrients, and sometimes it can be a little hot or a little cool, so there's a moment there that you need to wait for, but you plant directly into the compost, and you've got the wood chips on top to help absorb all the moisture and actually keep moisture and lock moisture in for when the hot summers come. So it's less watering, it's less weeds because of the cardboard and the wood chips. But this is something new for me. I'm very excited about it. I am so excited about it. It's a lot of work. It's an investment for sure, but I think it'll work out pretty well. Now, I don't know. It could totally fail, but that's fine. I'll learn from it. I love to grow. It's one of my favorite things. I love to grow food. I love to grow herbs. One of the things that I have been really wanting to do this year is to become a far better cook. Like, I just want to spend time in the kitchen. I want to create recipes, try new recipes. I love that, and bringing that kind of intention in the home, which really ties well into today's episode, like I said. So, as I was thinking, as I was out there working, I do my best thinking when I work and do things, and I was thinking about the idea of how do we find beauty in everyday life. Now, this is a subject that I have been thinking far before 3 weeks ago, because it's something that I talk to my friends about a lot. And I like to learn about people that way because it kind of pulls back the layers of that person, and you kind of get a window into who they are and where their eye goes automatically to find beauty, and what they do to help them have a good day or get through a hard day or whatever it might be. And you learn how to love them better. And I think there could be a little bit of like anything in life, it's all about balance. And I think there could be two ditches that you could fall into on this subject. And when I think about this, I think there could be a ditch of, I find this utterly frivolous. I don't understand how I could see lighting a candle to fixing. Now, I'm a deep person, so I'm the kind of person who has a conversation and will get to the core of it instead of just, I'm horrible at small talk. So we're going to dive deep, and I'm going to talk to you a minute about this idea of staying balanced within this subject. And if you're not interested in this, well, you can fast forward on this. But I have always been the kind of person who wants to have a grounding and a truth conversation about some of these things. And I think there could be two ditches that we could fall into when we're talking about beauty. And I think social media has definitely made this idea of romanticizing our life a thing. And there's nothing wrong with romanticizing your life. And that's not necessarily what I'm talking about today, but I think it could be pushed into somebody's mind as romanticizing your life, okay? And falling into the ditch of romanticizing your life so much that you're trying to escape where you're at. And it could be with contentment, and it could be with this idea of, this is really hard right now. Life is really hard right now, so I want to sweep everything under the rug so I don't have to deal with it. No, I've been there and I've done that, and that's why I want to take you to the road. But there's also there's another ditch on the other side that could say, well, this is utterly frivolous because of what's going on in my life right now. This is not something I can see doing because I don't have the time for it. I do not understand how lighting a candle can fix this problem. And that's where the issue is. Nothing will fix these huge thing. The thing is, what we talk about today is not going to fix what's happening in our life. Life can be really hard. That is what life is. There's hardships, but there's so much good in our life. And what I want to do is bring you to the road. I want to keep you on the road. So I want our mindset. No, this couldn't fix. So no, this does not fix these big issues. From maybe you're taking care of your aging parents and you're not understanding how, and you're thinking, I have no time and this is really hard and I don't know what I'm going to do, and I feel alone and I feel scared and I have all these emotions. Or maybe you're a busy mother or father, or maybe where you're at in life is not where you really see yourself being for the long term. You want to be somewhere else. It's not discontentment necessarily. It's just the fact that I know I want to be somewhere. I know I'm meant for somewhere else, and where I'm at in this season is it's a season. So how can we make this season where we're at right now, the everyday life that we're living every day, how we walk through it, into turning our minds, instead of thinking these things are going to fix it, turning our mindset and saying, no, these are things that will center us into realizing that our life is a gift, and finding beauty. And the beauty of what God has provided for us is that alone is why we're here, to find beauty and to have purpose. And now my faith is a huge thing in my life. This is something that keeps me grounded. I'm not perfect by any means, but I do know that God has meant for us to enjoy our life. Now, I think what happens when we settle our heart and settle our mind into deciding to find beauty, when our attitude does not line up with finding beauty, or our feelings do not add up with finding beauty, our intentionality has already gone forward to make the path for us to find the beauty, to already be within the beauty, so that when we turn, we're like, wait a minute, I'm so glad I did this. This made me smile today. Or I'm so glad somebody was intentional and smiled at me today. I needed that smile. It's all about intentionality. And that's been on my heart and my mind this whole year, is intentionality so far. And I've never been one to have like a word for the year, but I do think it's been something that God's been dealing with me a lot in, and I think that's where I'm just at in life, is just what am I being intentional about? Am I being intentional? Am I living this life for what God has prepared for me and what I can do to help others, and how can I live this life the best I can, because it is a gift, and your life is a gift. And I think when we do these things, it just is not only a thing to train our mind, but I do think it's almost brings him glory when we turn around and we see what he has done for us, and seeing the good things and finding the blessings in our life. I was thinking about how maybe my first memory of beauty, I don't know if it's my first memory. I can't say it's my first memory, but one of the memories that comes to mind so often these days, and I think it's part of life circumstances and things, but when I was stayed out at my mama and papa's during the summer when my parents would work, we would go over there and they'd watch us. And I was outside. They had created this beautiful pond with flowers, and papa had his fish in there, like one of those beautiful orange and cream fish that you see. I don't know what they're necessarily called. They're just a fish to me. And they're beautiful. And I think I loved them as a kid. He was so proud of those fish. They lived forever, I'm pretty sure. And and they had this huge gallon jar of fish food that I would go out and feed, even when we already fed them. And I would sneak out there and I'd feed the fish, because I loved to watch them eat the little pebbles off the top of the water. And then I'd play pioneer out in the pond area with like a rusted bucket, and they had the filtering system, kind of looked like one of those old pumps. So I'd like act like I was pumping the water and get the water full of the bucket, and I was going to take it to my cabin, all the things. Anyway, I was out there playing, doing that, and I decided I'd go inside. I probably wanted something to drink, I think. I can't remember exactly. But what I do remember is I walked through the screen door and went into the kitchen, which is, I believe, the heart of the home anyway. Between that and the living room, I think those two places are like the heart of the home to me. And I walked in, and when you turn into the house, it's a cabin-style house. And inside, there's beautiful wood shelves that Papa made. And you walk right into a kitchen nook area, and it has this bench that kind of insets into the wall and into the corner with windows that just outline the whole corner. And so there's so much light, natural light that's coming in. And I walk in, and Mama's sitting at this bench seat, sewing on probably jeans at this point, because she was always hemming her clothes. And she was sitting there, and the light just poured in. It just poured in, and it seemed like it was only lighting her. I feel like it was only meant for her. And she was in there sewing, and the way that the light was hitting her earrings was just like making it dance on the wall. And she had these her hair was always pinned up when she'd be working, and all the time. And it just looked so effortlessly elegant, I think. I always love when women's hair is pinned up. But she had these beautiful earrings on, her rings on, and she was working. And I just remember looking back now, and I was trying to figure out what about this moment sticks out to me so much. Yes, my mama is so beautiful, it's so beautiful, and I've always thought that. And yes, it was about her beauty in that moment, but I think that memory to me just feels like a breath. Like I just feel like it's a breath, because going back and putting myself in that memory, and when you turn around and you see all the things that Papa made, all the things she brought into the house that she's made or loved, or things that were just pieces that made her happy, and how she dressed, or how she decided to wear her earrings even though she'd be working all day, and all these little things, everything within their home, to their pond, to Papa's wood shop, was intentional. It was so intentional. And I think that's what happens when you're intentional of bringing beauty into your life. I think it's a breath. I think it's a breath. And I think that's what it is for me when I think about that memory, is it just feels like a breath. So I want us to think about how we bring beauty into our life as being able to take a second and breathe. It's like every time I think about that memory, there's like 4 core memories with people that I can, with each person that always comes to mind. They always end up layering into other memories. But that's what I realize about things is like, it's just a breath. I could look around and I could feel at home. She has created a home so loving and purposeful. And I guess what I want to do for us. So there is an article along with this episode that will outline some of my stories in written form for you guys to enjoy. I'm going to tell you more things that are just story driven than they are point by point. These are things that have inspired me to look at my life differently or to do things differently in my life. And I have written some of those stories out in the article that goes with this. And along with some pictures of the books that I'll be giving you today, the coffee table books that I love to look through for inspiration and all the things. So make sure you go over to Here in My Time and read the article along with this. If you guys know me or have listened to the episodes before, you know that I come from a musical family. So music is a big thing in my life, and it really helps me. It's one of those things that just kind of get me in a better mood or kind of get me in an inspiring mood or a creative mood or just a happy mood. I am the kind of person, if I'm having a rough day, I will turn on some of my favorite music and I will jam out and dance like a fool because it's so funny to me and I'm a horrible dancer and it cracks me up and it makes me happy. It just makes me happy. Now, I have been known to do that at my workplace, actually. When I was having a rough day one day, I turned on some music. It was like a lunch break area time or just like 5 minutes of a break, and I would just like dance my heart out. And I'm always singing, and I've always felt like music has been a big part of me and it makes me happy. There's a few things that I think stem from that because my mammal used to, whenever she'd be working, she would always be humming, and she would she still to this day wipes the counter and she's always humming. And I thought, you know what? Though we don't really realize it, I think that stems to just filling the air with something that makes you happier, gets your mind off of the tasks that you're doing. And I have definitely added that to who I am by intentionality and also by just the fact that it runs in the family and I pick up the craziness just as much as the next person. Now, for my dad, I have to say, my dad loves coffee, and so do I. But he has this idea that he only drinks his coffee out of a mug, which I agree with. But even though you know you're going to spill it on yourself on the way to work, it tastes better in a mug, and that's what makes him happy. So maybe drinking your favorite coffee out of your favorite coffee mug makes you happy, makes you smile. It's these little things that just can make you smile for a minute. I was thinking about this one time when I was helping my mama on my mom's side make her bed, and she had these beautiful sheets with a flowered pattern to them. And those sheets I was just going to make the bed like I normally make a bed. I know how to make a bed. At least I thought I knew how to make the bed. And it's not that she was telling me I was doing it wrong or anything like that. But she's like, I was going to put the sheets on. I put the one that wraps around the mattress, and then I put the top sheet on. And I put the pattern facing the ceiling. And she goes, wait a minute. Let's switch the pattern to the inside of the bed. And I said, well, why? And she says, well, whenever you get into bed, you're the one that's going to see the pattern. You don't want the comforter to see the pattern. You want to see the pattern. So you might as well have the pattern facing you so you can enjoy that. I mean, you bought the sheets. You might as well enjoy them. And I thought, well, that's just, it's something so sweet and so innocent, but it's actually just a part of finding the beauty. And I love that about that whole story. I enjoyed that. I keep that with me every time I have a pattern on my sheets. So now that's how I make my bed. I think for me, I've always tried to build my life with things that I enjoy doing that will bring experience into my life. One of the things that I do is always have the things that I love to create with, things that I enjoy right at my fingertips. So anything I can do creatively, I have built kind of a stash. I'm the kind of person that will spend money on experiences and my crafting. I'm really not that complicated and or difficult. I just know, you know what? I realize this about myself. I'm not an expensive person, but my hobbies are. That's that's my problem. Anyway, I have actually created a stash of things that I can turn to. But having those things to actually grab when I'm in the moment of I need something to get my mind off of it, or I just want to do something I enjoy, it's right there and I have the supplies to do it instead of waiting for it to come in a couple weeks later, or maybe going to the store and going and getting it. Unless you like to do that sort of thing, I do too, but sometimes it keeps me from actually doing some of the stuff that I enjoy, or I put it off. And I think having the things that you love at your fingertips is a great way to do so. It's kind of like in the kitchen. I think if we if we think about a ingredient, or if we think about a recipe that we love to make or whatever, and then we go in and we're going to get halfway through and we look and we have no vanilla or we have no flour, it doesn't work very well, and then we're just like, well, forget about it. I say that as somebody who has decided that I'm going to become an excellent cook, and I actually really love to be in the kitchen. So I try to have some of the things or plan out some of my recipes in advance, which not only I think food can be such a beautiful aspect from the colors of the food as a gardener in my mind, but also just as being intentional with our food and taking the moment of enjoying eating our food together, or actually sitting down and eating our food and not rushing all the time, is another way of just finding beauty in your life. I heard it the other day about, I can't remember where I heard this from, but I heard this lady saying how the fact that a coffee maker or a tea maker has taken the ritual of turning on the kettle. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so true, because it was this idea that it's a ritual in our life that we could go and turn on a kettle, or go and, open that favorite book of yours, or, spending time with people. It becomes the ritual of our life. And if we X out those things of being intentional and making it a ritual in our life by replacing it with, something we think are making our lives easier, when in all actuality, we're just missing out on that part of our life. I think it really spoke to me. I thought, you know what? Turn on the kettle instead of having the coffee maker make whatever, or the steamer, or whatever you call that. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's just this idea that we could miss out so much if we don't take a minute and we breathe. Okay, I have rambled so much in this episode, and I apologize. It's everywhere and everything, and I had really a lot of fun. So hopefully it wasn't absolutely annoying, but I hopefully gave you some inspiration, or just some thoughts to think in your mind of some things that could help you, or just inspire you to see beauty in everyday life, as this life is a gift. Now I'm going to give you some of my favorite coffee table books as inspiration to look at. Maybe you would like to get them. It'll be with the article along with this episode. Like I said, you can see some of the pictures of them and a link to find them. Okay, let me go grab those. This part of the episode is the segment called Book Recommendations, where Lauren brings 4 book recommendations to your ears from her estate library, of which she has far too many books than what she needs. But we do not mention that to her, because she knows and she already feels guilty enough. Okay, on to you, Lauren. Thank you so much to Bill. Well, I'm going to call that guy Bill. I don't know. I just made that up as I went. Okay, anyway, I am so excited to share with you these books. Now, these are books that have either got me thinking or just inspired me, whether it was for a photograph or just day-to-day life. Now, these top 3 books are probably more day-to-day things. So I have the first book that I ever picked up, and I'm so glad of picking this book up as a coffee table book. It's called Tea Time Discipleship with Sally Clarkson. Now, Sally Clarkson is actually, she's a podcast host as well, and it's called At Home with Sally. But she talks about cultivating friendship and feasting and fellowship. And it's all about this idea of sharing faith one cup at a time through being intentional throughout your day and creating spaces within your homes that cultivate that ability to spend time not only with yourself and with the Lord, but also with other people. So it talks about having things on hand, such as making extra cookie dough and putting it in the freezer so you can make cookies if somebody calls and says, I need to talk, can I come over? I'm 15 minutes away, I'm bawling in the car, can I please come over? Then you could throw those on and have a cup of tea or coffee ready for them when they arrive. And I just love this. This is probably, it's such a beautiful book and beautifully written, and I will have obviously pictures with this, but it's so good. It is such a good book, and I encourage anybody to look at it and read it and just feast from it. There's everything from recipes to just how she decorated her home, or how she decided to create little nooks of her room to where she can have, when her kids come in and need to talk, they can come into the room and have this little seating area, and it feels homely, and it feels just different. Like we're ready to talk and we're ready to have a conversation together and have tea together. So it's a wonderful book. Now, this next book is my friend Kathy Goman, who was on this season of Here in My Time a couple episodes back. You should go check her out. She was my English teacher, and she actually, you should go check the episode out. Not check her out. She would probably kill me if I said that. Anyway, we're gonna talk about this book that she gave me. And it was such a moment for me that she gave me this book. I love when friends give me a book, or somebody thought about me and gave me a book. That was intentional, and she made me smile. So thank you, Kathy, for giving me this book. It's called A Lovely Life: Savoring Simple Joys in Every Season. And this really ties into that idea of seasons in our life, that nothing is actually going to stay the same, and we just have to live our life daily and just taking it one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, and try to enjoy our life the most we possibly can. And this is by Melissa Mitchells, and it's so beautiful. She has other books as well, but it has this beautiful seasoned outline of just drinks that you can add to your season. You can add, how can you bring spa treatments into your home? Like just little things that just create just pockets of beauty, whether it's skincare to the food that you eat. It's so beautiful, and I love this book. I've been reading it for spring, and I've loved it. It has so many cool recipes, and just, I love it so much. So thank you, Kathy. And I'll put that one on the article as well. These next two, my photographer's eye is everywhere and everything, and I love so much. The first book I ever got for photography is called Lost in the Beauty of Bad Weather by Christoph Jackrot, which is I could totally say that wrong, Jacrot, and it's such a beautiful book. It's pictures of him using rain in the window and shooting through the rain, and just the photos that he captured with bad weather. It gives you a different way of looking at rain and looking at snow and looking at just all the things, and it's made my eye go to these things when I'm driving home from work, because I have an hour-long drive, and it's made me see, when it's bad weather, a photo potential, or just, I don't know. I've always loved rain, though, I do have to say, but you need to pick up this book, or at least check out his photography, because it's utterly beautiful. He's been everywhere, and from Germany to Europe to just everywhere, photographing beautiful scenery in bad weather, and I love that book. This last book, because I know we're running really long, is called An American in Provence, and it's Art, Life, and Photography by Jamie Beck. Now, she's on Instagram. You need to check her out. But I have been wanting to get this book for so long, and the other day, I went to the antique store, and it was in one of the antique booths, and I was like, oh, I gotta get that. I ran right to it. Actually, there was somebody that had picked it up, and I was like eyeing them They didn't know I was, but I was waiting for them to drop it because I was going to go grab it, and I got it. So yes, I love antiquing, and that makes me happy and brings beauty into my life. So I have this book, and it is, oh my gosh, the photography in this, the art form in this. She does these self-portraits that are just exposing and utterly just the depth of them is just so beautiful. From still life, she's an American who moved to Provence, and she actually talks about in her books just her experience and her photography journey with that. She was a very well-known photographer far before then, and then she moved here to Provence and just soaked in the lifestyle and just turned her life into this beautiful portrait session, basically. And she has some of the most beautiful self-portraits that are just so exposing and has so much depth. She talks about recipes in here and how to take photographs as well if you're interested. But I think you would just love her art. You should check her out on Instagram or get this book because it's such a beautiful, inspiring book. Okay, we have gone very far, and I realize that because I am thirsty. I'm dying of thirst. So I'm going to get off here, and thank you guys so much. I hope that it inspired you to just, all my rambling has inspired you to look at your life as something as a gift, because you are such a gift to my life. Thank you so much for your support by listening. Share this episode if you think somebody would like it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and go check out the article as well on Here in My Time. And I thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe to any platform that you're listening to this, and that would be 5-star and review. That helps it get out to other people's ears. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful day, and God bless. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, because I sincerely did. I am incredibly inspired every single time someone walks into my studio and sits down. I am able to look in their eyes, and I am welcomed into their story, and that is priceless. It is a great honor and also a great responsibility to think that when they said yes to come onto my podcast, that meant that they trusted me. They trusted me enough to allow me to help tell their story, and to me, that means the world. So thank you to my guest. If you'd like to connect with my guest, if they left any or mentioned any of social media or websites, it will be in the description box below, as well as on my Facebook and Instagram if you want to see what they look like. I have a portrait and a small little write-up along with anything they mentioned within this podcast. So I hope today that you have been inspired to look at your own life and to see that just living your life is important. But I want to inspire you as well to actually document your life. You have an importance in this world, and I want you to use your voice. So it doesn't have to look like 6 pages in a journal or being on a podcast. It can look like a line a day. If you'd like to connect with me, make sure you head over to hereinmytime.com. That is where I have a bi-weekly blog, as well as some of my portfolio work with photography, and where you can also contact me through email at hereinmytime@gmail.com, as well as follow me on Facebook and Instagram. This is at Here in My Time as well, here.inmytime for Instagram, and I have weekly content. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world. And until next week,